Well, there are games that are tough pills to swallow, and then there's what happened tonight here. George, Leo Beas from the Golden One Center, where the Sacramento Kings just fell to the Los Angeles Lakers. 101-91, the final score. Now, with that final score, would you believe me if I told you the Sacramento Kings were up by 19 points?
Were they really?
And the LA Lakers were essentially dead to rights midway through the second quarter, and then from basically the 3-minute mark remaining in the second quarter all the way until the final buzzer, this might as well have been the Staples Center. The Lakers crowd showed up in force tonight, Leo. All props to them for doing it. All that amount of people coming out to support a team that's 500 on the season. They're above expectations at 4-4. They really helped give that Lakers
5-4 now.
5-4 now. They helped give that team the spark to get them to that 5-4 mark. But all around, man, if you're a Sacramento Kings fan, a member of the Sacramento Kings media, or a player, a coach, it doesn't matter. This is beyond a sour taste in your mouth after tonight.
I said this on Twitter. The worst loss of the season, Matt.
Already. And it would be hard for them to top it.
If you thought that Bucks loss was bad, this was even worse. They were up by 19 points, and they gave it up. Coach Yeager made 0 adjustments in the second half. He stood there, and I'm going to say it. This loss is on him.
No, and you're absolutely right. And I mean, let's just talk about it simply.
Yeah.
The Kings beat their head against the same wall over and over and over again. 0 adjustments by Yeager, and I counted 3 or 4 times at least where Yeager should have taken a timeout before the run even started getting going to calm his guys down and to set everything up, because that's what you'll see guys like Greg Popovich do. It doesn't matter if he's up by 16, 17 points. He gives up 4 points back-to-back and a fast break bucket, and there seems like an inch of momentum starting to go into his opposition. He calls a timeout right there, calms things down, comes out of that break with adjustments made, and shuts it down. Dave Yeager.
We saw none of that.
None of it tonight. 0.
I don't know what to say. And even in post, he just spoke for about 90 seconds.
Yeah, Yeager was immediately, I just made it in time. You didn't even make it to the press conference. We had just gotten down, working our way through the Lakers crowd, and there was a big crowd here. We have to go through the Lakers tunnel in order to get back to the locker rooms and back to the press conference area. And the Lakers fans were surrounding that tunnel, so it was difficult to get through in the first place. But even so, even if we had no crowd there, most of media would not have made it to this press conference. That's how quick Yeager wanted to come out. He wanted to get it over with, and it was pretty clear of that. I have a problem with what he said in the postgame, and we didn't even have time to get the cameras there set up, so we're just going to give you quotes and based off of what he said as best as I can reiterate them to you. He blamed tonight's loss on unlucky missed shots, and I take problem with that. Yes, there were a lot of good looks that the Kings had in that second half that just were not falling. The rim was very unfriendly to the Kings tonight. But that being said, when you know that's happening, you don't continue to try it over and over again and hope that it works. You make adjustments. Yeager did none of that, and he seemed content to just blame it on unluck.
He said that?
Yes, that's exactly what he said. He said it was unlucky. He said, this isn't a quote, but he was asked, were you happy with the shots that you were getting in that fourth quarter? And he an exasperating absolutely. He's absolutely. I love the shots that we were getting in that fourth quarter. They just weren't dropping. Yeager, I understand he has to save face a little bit, and I'm sure he's feeling a lot worse than what he let on. But there's just a level of you need to take some responsibility for 0 adjustments made. And it's a very disappointing night for Dave Yeager, in my opinion.
Look, I tell people to relax all the time on Twitter, right? But I can't relax when I see 0 accountability. And if he wants to blame it on shots, then he's wrong. Because you have to give credit to the Lakers. They were super scrappy tonight. And just plain and simple, he made no adjustments. They kept feeding their shooters. Yeah, they were shooting lights out. And then the Kings were missing shots. But you have to just call it the way it is. He made 0 adjustments. And they just played a bad second half. It was sloppy. DeMarcus should have fought through all the pain that he was going through, right? That's what he said in postgame. But, dude, you've been in the league for 6 years. This is your 7th. And you barely realize that you have to get over it and start fighting through the fouls and all this. No, You should have known that by now.
We're going to hear from DeMarcus Cousins in just a little bit because he had some interesting comments. He was talking about how teams, they can't stop him, and the Lakers could not stop DeMarcus Cousins in that first half.
So they get in his head.
So what they do is they get in his head and they try and upset him. And this is what teams have to do against a guy as dominant as DeMarcus Cousins, and he even claims himself that he knew it was coming, but he still allows it to affect him. And we'll talk about that a little bit, but we want to wrap up with the Coach Yeager talk really quick, because in the long run, Yeager's been very, very positive in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's done the right things, getting this team to perform at the level he wants them to perform, with the exception of a couple of games like the Milwaukee game and then the second half of tonight's game. The defense has been much better than certainly what we saw last year. So Yeager, there's still a lot of positives, and it's not like throwing the towel on Yeager. He's done, because he still has plenty of things.
Players have bad games. Coaches do too.
Absolutely.
And tonight was his bad game.
But it was beyond bad, Leo. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And it's very, very frustrating to watch and to go through. I know he's feeling just as much frustration as we are, if not 10 times more, along with those players. So just really, really a tough pill to swallow. And you mentioned on Twitter you're a guy that always tells everybody to calm down, away from the ledge.
It's just one game. I tell Laker fans, it's just one game. You guys didn't win the championship tonight, yet it feels like that because they were just rowdy and, my goodness.
Well, here's the problem that I have, and I agree it is just one game, but it's games and performances like tonight that myself and Kings fans see. This is the reason why we can't hope for anything in the future beyond the same thing, because we've seen this over and over and over again through the 10 years. Now, it's been with different players, it's been with different coaches. The only constant really has been DeMarcus Cousins, maybe Rudy Gay. You can't pin it all on them, but the bottom line is, with this team, for some reason, any first half lead that they build evaporates, and then when they need to perform in the fourth quarter, they shoot themselves in the foot and they continue to play isolation basketball. And it doesn't work, but they continue to do it. The ball movement was stagnant to non-existent in that second half, and that's the reason why the Kings couldn't get a shot to drop.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you say, right?
What more can I say?
Well, let's pause from our conversation really quick, and let's take a listen to what DeMarcus Cousins had to say when he was asked about really how teams address him and try and get under his skin.
It's pretty sad when opposing teams let it be known what their game plan is, which is to be physical, hit me, and whatever the case may be, and just kind of get away with it. But I got to learn how to play through it and keep my frustrations in order, just play through it.
So here's the problem that I have with what DeMarcus Cousins said. He's right. He's absolutely right about everything that he said. That's what you have to do to stop someone as dominant as him. He told us he knows that's what teams have to do because they can't stop him. He knows this. He said it himself. But what he said that bothers me is he said, I need to learn. I need to learn how to not let it get under my skin.
6 years in, and no.
6 seasons he's played in the NBA.
No.
He is in his prime of his career, or at least he's just entering the prime of his career. You haven't learned this yet? This has been the same thing teams have been doing to you for 3 or 4 seasons at least, and still he allows himself to do stupid things like throw the ball off of Randall, basically give Randall all the keys to his motivation by saying, here you go. I'm going to physically show you that you're getting under my skin, and I'm going to give you the credit that you deserved.
And he committed a silly foul to end the first half where the Kings were up by 13 points, and Randall cut the lead to 10. That gave that team momentum, and the rest is history, man.
And he finished the game actually going to the Los Angeles Lakers huddle and having words with Randall. You just don't need to do things like this. This is things that rookies do. Move on. It's a hard loss. It's frustrating. Randall did what he was supposed to do, and he got under your skin. Mozgov did what he was supposed to do, and he banged you around in that second half. Get over it.
Yeah.
That is what teams are supposed to do. You need to put on a stone face, not let it affect you, and if that effect or that tough play is coming your way, kick the ball out. And that's something that we rarely see Cousins do. He'll get an offensive rebound, and he'll battle for an offensive rebound, so all props to him for getting that. But he'll be surrounded by 3 or 4 defenders and have guys like Aflalo and Collison wide open on the perimeter, and he refuses to kick the ball out. It's just things like, get past yourself, and Cousins has not been able to do that.
I was told Shaq had some words at the half for him, and I'm very interested to see what they were, because that's a player who took punishment every single night. And what DeMarcus takes, no disrespect to him, is nothing in comparison to what Shaq took. Because Shaq was primarily inside the paint, and DeMarcus plays from the outside to in, and at times from the inside out. But Shaq took punishment, and he didn't complain as much as DeMarcus did.
And make no mistake about it, DeMarcus Cousins is the most dominant big man in the league since Shaquille O'Neal. There's no argument there. Dwight Howard, please. He was the one who was considered to be the next Superman.
He's soft.
No. Cousins is the real deal in that category, but he's getting taken out of the game by his own
mentally.
frustration, and mentally he's weak. And that's something that he needs to get over. My question is, when is he ever going to learn it? And you just don't know.
We don't know, Matt, and I don't have anything to say to that, but I'm just hoping that he learns quick, because tomorrow night will not be easy.
Well, before we move on to our performance of the night and our play of the night, we're going to take a quick 15-second break here, brought to you by our sponsor, Reno Dodge.
For 50 years, we've been powering the streets of northern Nevada, and we're proud of that. Reno Dodge, powered by trust, driven by you.
So, performance of the night. This was tough. In my mind, it's Lou Williams. Williams, really, in that second half, was the one who you could make an argument for Randall because of what Randall was able to do to DeMarcus Cousins. But Williams really was the one who really got that scoring going in that fourth quarter. He had a couple of really big threes, also had a big three-point play, attacked the basket. He finished with 21 points. He shot 50% of the field and 50% from behind the three-point line. Williams really did it all offensively for the Lakers, gave them that push, and he was pretty much the main reason why the Lakers were able to make that separation that the Kings just couldn't come back from.
I'm going to say it was Swaggy P. This guy has turned his career around. Before the game, this guy should have been out the league. Luke Walton told him, you know what, I'm going to give you one more shot. And he said, are you really? Yeah, and he has taken over since. He's a starting shooting guard for this basketball team, and he played great. And at times, talking to some Laker people, he's our best defender. This guy has the height, he has the shooting ability, he has the athleticism. When his mind is right, he's a very good player. And tonight, he brought it, and he brought that excitement, and he had all the Laker fans rowdy.
And the Laker fans were rowdy, and all props, again, to the Laker fans who traveled very, very well. Disappointing that the Sacramento Kings fans allowed so much yellow to show up in the Golden One Center on the first matchup between these two rivals in this brand new building, so that's disappointing to say the least. It was really difficult, Leo, to pick one play in particular that the Lakers did to really switch the momentum, because it was really a stretch of like 3 or 4 minutes. The one that I am going to point to is that Timothy Mozgov alley-oop that just the Kings were making their way back. It looked like they were starting to make a little bit of noise and try and work their way, and they scored, I think, 5 unanswered points, or 3 or 5 unanswered points at that point, and just got back a little bit. And then Timothy Mozgov gets an alley-oop, reignites this Laker crowd, and then it really was no looking back for the Lakers from that point.
I don't really have a defining moment, but this team, this Lakers team,
the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah, this Lakers team is pretty scrappy, and they're better than what I thought they were going to be. And we both had them last in the West, but this team has heart, and this team has a coach that's super young and is bringing that mentality from Golden State, believe it or not. And this team is buying into what he's saying.
You know, we really have to wrap it up here. We don't want to take too long on this bit, but I had a conversation with a couple of fans on Twitter before the game actually started, and the question they were asking me, and we were kind of going back and forth about, is which team is further along in the development process? Is it the Sacramento Kings or is it the Los Angeles Lakers?
The Lakers.
And unfortunately, it is the Lakers, because if you look at future and if you look at a core, that core of Randall, Ingram, and Russell, is a lot better than the core of DeMarcus Cousins. Just for the future, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, because we don't know what's going to happen with Rudy Gay.
Right.
So that's why it's the core of DeMarcus Cousins.
Even if Rudy Gay is permanently a part of this core for years to come, I still give those 3 young players the edge for performances like tonight, their scrappiness, and their longevity in the league, unless one of them gets hurt, which we certainly hope that is not the case. But enough about this game. Players need to forget about it. We need to forget about it, because the Kings go right back to work tomorrow night. They are flying. They are leaving right now to get on a plane to fly to Portland to take on a Trailblazers team that is going to be pissed off, Leo, because they just got their butts kicked by the LA Clippers in LA. So they're looking for a bounce back performance. The Kings played, their starters played a lot of minutes tonight. I expect some tired legs tomorrow. I just hope they can keep it competitive because that game could get ugly quickly.
Well, I'm going to say the complete opposite. I know I'm going to sound crazy, but don't be shocked if the Kings come out tomorrow and win that game.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
Don't be shocked because we don't know what we have in this team yet. And like I tell people, relax. It's only one game, and I'm looking forward to this game, Matt.
Well, the bad news is tonight happened. Yes, it's real. It actually existed. The good news is that following this Blazer performance, the Kings get, I think, 3 or 4 days off before their next game, which they can get some practice and some rest time in, which is major, major important, especially for a team that's still learning how to put all the pieces together. Because, I mean, let's face it, Darren Collison was awful tonight. And he's one of those guys where he needs probably a little bit more time to really fit in so he can be just as good, if not better, than he was against the Pelicans a couple of nights ago. But after that, 5 straight home games for the Kings.
Tough stretch.
All 5 of them are against proverbial playoff teams, 1 East Coast team in the Raptors, and then 4 West Coast teams, Thunder, Houston, and
just the second best team in the East.
Yeah, you know, just plenty of good talent coming into the Golden One Center. The Kings are going to need to be ready, and if they have performances like tonight, it might be a very, very ugly homestand. But for right now, we're going to take a deep breath, go take an ice bath, and cry ourselves to sleep. My name is Matt George. For my partner Leo Beas, we thank you for joining us on the CK Nation post-game show. Tough night for the Sacramento Kings. They lose 101-91 here in the Golden One Center.
Hi, I'm Leo Beas. Thanks for watching. It means a lot, guys. If you want the latest news in Sacramento, hit the subscribe button below. I'll be waiting.